No, you know how we were like, he can suggest any video. We said, like, make a suggestion and we'll review it.
You said that, I didn't say that.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, obviously, we are actually we've got quite a meticulous plan of every film we want to review.
So, yeah, so I don't know what said it, but yeah.
But I don't know, I just wanted to, I wanted to make him feel appreciated. I was hoping he wouldn't take us up on the offer. Anyway, he said, you're welcome. He kind of put a timestamp for when we were talking about him. He said, you're welcome. And keeping up with Bruce Willis may be unbreakable.
Oh!
Which actually isn't, well, it's not a bad chat. You know what? If M. Night Shyamalan, the thing about M. Night Shyamalan is, well, Unbreakable is quite a weird film because it's like, it wasn't when his films were crap, but it's also not his famous good film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, short answer is, I didn't say when we would. So, you know, when M. Night Shyamalan releases the biggest, to be honest.
He's got to be releasing another one soon.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if we were more kind of shrewd in or I guess just sensible in what we would do, we would probably, Unbreakable would probably be the last film we reviewed by him, because, you know, everyone knows it's funnier when you talk about bad films. His name is, let's not forget, Mr. King Waffle.
Great name.
You know what? His name has the word king in it too, and my YouTube account that I use that isn't this account has the word king in it as well.
Oh.
So,
Carrot King.
I don't know. Were you recording any of that, Luke?
Yeah, I am.
Good, because I was going to say, like, yeah, I mean, obviously, to be honest, Luke, so I think that should be our cold open. It's gonna,
yeah.
It's quite,
you don't want to talk about Brexit and the lack of food and medicine?
You know what, Luke? Okay, so before the World Cup review, we were talking about, like, how hot it was, and you were like, yeah, it was like 30 degrees in Antarctica. Oh, sorry, not Antarctica. The Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
I thought you were exaggerating, but
No.
just like today, while I was, you know, playing around on the old internet, I realized, yeah, it was 33 degrees in Lapland, which is where Santa lives.
Crazy.
So basically what I'm saying is there's like too many things to deal with, and I don't know why we decided that we wanted to have to deal with Brexit too. Like it's just like the worst decision in the world, really, because it's like yeah, it's literally just another thing to deal with, and
you know, I just, you know, Michael, I genuinely don't get why anybody would support Brexit. Like, genuinely, seriously, 100%. I can get Trump. I just can't get Brexit. It's like, it's obviously going to damage the country. What are we going to gain from it?
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, like,
it's so weird.
Yeah, I also agree with you. Like, I understand why people were like, oh yeah, Trump. We love Trump.
Well, he's going to bring jobs. He's going to bring fucking America, mate. He's going to make America great. What the fuck's Brexit going to do? Like, we're just going to be worse. What's the advantage?
Yeah. I mean, like, by contrast, for example, I get people voting for Nigel Farage. I don't agree with it, but I understand why they would.
Yeah.
Or UKIP in general, I guess I should say. Because UKIP has a coherent ideology. It's not an ideology I agree with, but it is one that at least kind of makes sense in some way. So it's like, oh, we're going to bring us back to the good old days, and you'll be able to smoke in the pub. And those namby-pamby vegans, soy boys, which is in the UKIP manifesto, soy boys, they won't be able to complain about it. And yeah, I get that, but yeah, I mean, I just don't think about it anymore, to be honest. I was happy for the distraction during the World Cup, and now I'm kind of like...
Yeah, same.
Now I'm thinking about the world again. Yeah, I miss the World Cup. I wasn't thinking about anything during the World Cup.
Back up, chump, you know Biggie Smalls rips it quick and kicks it quick. You know how black niggas get. With the hoods for tees, with the boots with trees. Flipping trees, making crazy G's. Hitting buckshots at niggas that open spots on the avenue. Take my loot and I'm bagging. Pimping hoes that drive Bobos and rodeos. Flash the roll, make a wreck in they pantyhose. Damn, a nigga style is unorthodox, grip the Glock. When I walk down the crowded block, just in case a nigga wanna act out, I just black out and blow the motherfucking back out. That's a real nigga for you.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast.
No, do it again.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that come out relatively recently at cinema and still hold up upon a second watch. This week we are looking at, I am your host, Michael, and I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Luke. And this week we are reviewing Mission Impossible, The First Avenger.
Yeah, so this...
Why don't you tell us a bit about that, Luke?
Yeah, so this is the first Mission Impossible movie, just called Mission Impossible. Released in 1996, it's an American action spy film. It was directed by Brian De Palma and stars Tom Cruise. It is based on the television series of the same name. Stars, like we said, Tom Cruise, John Voight, Henry Czerny, Emmanuel Beat, Jean Reno, Bing Rames, Kristen Scott Thomas, and Vanessa Redgrave. It was released on the 22nd of May, 1996. Oh, so that was literally less than a month. Yeah, I was born less than a month earlier. That's great. Budget. Yeah, have a guess at the budget, Michael.
Alright. Oh, goodness me. This is a difficult one. I mean, it's always difficult, to be honest.
Yeah, especially with old people.
I'm going to go for 80 million. No, 100 million.
Is that your final answer?
No, my final answer is 140 million.
It was 80 million. That's great.
So funny.
That's great. And now, for the box office. Take a guess.
I'm going to go for a box office of 800 million. No, 1,000 million. No, 1,400 million. I'm going to go for... I mean, it must have been a lot. So I'm thinking over 500 million. I'm going to go for 600 million.
457 million.
Oh, okay,
so not as much as you think, or you thought, Michael, anyway, but I think that's still very good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
In fact, Mission Impossible opened in 3,012 theatres on May the 22nd, the most ever up to that point, and broke the record for a film opening on a Wednesday with that's a great record, with $11.8 million, beating the $11.7 million that Terminator 2 Judgment Day made in 1991. It also set house records in several theatres across the United States, and it grossed more than Jurassic Park in its first 6 days. So
it is Wednesday, my dudes.
Yeah. So pretty impressive in the box office. Even 457 million obviously today is a decent amount, but back then that must have been very, very good, and obviously it broke a lot of records.
I would be quite content if someone were to give me $457 million.
Yeah, I think we all would. So I'll just explain. Actually, we discuss if we liked it first, don't we?
Yeah, we do actually, don't we? Hey, Luke, did you like this film?
You know what, Michael? I'm going to say kind of.
I think, you know what, Luke? I hate to be agreeing with you, agreeing with you. That's what you got to do. You got to use. Actually, it's not really that, because negative Nancy. It just has to be alliterative. I hate to be agreeing with you, Annie, but yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. So
not that great.
I shall explain the plot. The plot follows Ethan Hunt, who's played by Tom Cruise, and his mission to uncover the mole who has framed him for the murders of his entire Impossible Mission Force (IMF) team. By the way, that's such a ridiculous name.
Also it's International Monetary Fund.
Yeah, it is. Well done. That's basically it, and he obviously discovers that it was the team leader, fucking Jim, that fucker, played by John Voight. He was
classic Jim.
Classic Jim. He was the bad guy all along, and you could probably tell, I know, we'll get into that actually.
Yes.
So obviously this movie, actually, I'm very glad that Wikipedia put it in in one sentence, because I was looking at the reviews for this film, and a lot of the critics criticized it for being too convoluted, or for the plot being too convoluted. That was the issue. Which, here's the thing, I've seen plots that are probably more convoluted. I followed this plot pretty well, I'd say. But I guess, maybe plots just have gotten so much more complicated over time since 1996.
There were, I'm kind of reviewing the film at this point, but there were moments when I thought the plot was being convoluted, but what happened is, I I thought I'll stick with it, and I'll probably kind of understand it in the end, and that's kind of what happened. So yeah, so there were moments I was like, wait, why are they doing it? Especially at the beginning, but we'll get into that.
Yes. So obviously, Michael, nitpicks are next. Do you have any?
Yeah, I've got, count them, I think 4.
I've also got 4. That's cool.
Well, you know, Luke, this has never happened before.
Has it never?
Because, well, I don't know. See, we've had a rule for a while now, which is that whoever has the fewest nitpicks goes first, so that therefore the person with the most nitpicks, you know, might have some of their nitpicks already addressed by the other person, and you know. Well, so I think here's how we should do it, Luke. We should go 1 for 1. So you do one of yours, I do one of mine, and then maybe we will do the same things, but that's just going to be what happens. We can do it like tennis, so it's kind of like, I go once, then you go twice, then I go once, no, then I go twice, then you go twice, and I go twice, then you go once.
Yeah, I can be Roger Federer.
Do you want me to flip a coin so we can decide who goes first, Luke? Decide who serves first.
Let's go.
I don't have a coin, but I have a spoon, so I'm gonna. Do you want it if it lands kind of like curved side up? It's you. Should we do that?
Yeah.
If it lands curved side up, it's you. Well, you can't verify this independently, but that actually landed curved side down.
Oh,
so looks like I win.
I think that's fixed. I don't know about that.
Okay. I'm actually surprised because I kind of forgotten what my nitpicks were. I'm surprised this one is actually quite late. But my first one is the guy who was killed in the elevator. Number 1,
Jack.
Jack. Okay, they'd already established he can fit like on the side of the elevator because he does that before. But there's already been a scene where the elevator is kind of like moving to crush him, and he avoids it. But even then, like, wouldn't you lie down at least? Like, he basically just stares up at this thing that, and yeah, I just thought like, he could move out the way. He could definitely, especially seeing as I guess this whole thing is it's an impossible mission force. If you belong to an impossible mission force, you shouldn't really be killed by a lift, should you, Luke?
No. Also, his death was quite ridiculous. Like one of the fucking, I don't know what they were, but like these big sharp metal things coming down from the top of the elevator.
It was kind of like a Final Destination death.
Yeah, it was like it goes through like his face. Like that didn't have to happen. He could have just been crushed. But yeah, they went.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, see, here's my theory. Okay, I think like crushing would have been seen as like too brutal.
Oh yeah, and that wasn't brutal.
But that's the thing. Like, I think like there's an idea that bladed attacks are better than crushing attacks. So it's kind of like they're like, oh, you know, we're gonna have him hit the top of the lift and be crushed between the lift and the roof. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, that might rub people the wrong way. Okay, don't worry, we'll have knives. We'll throw some knives into it. It's like, oh, that's fine then. That's my theory. Yeah. That's actually how I think it works. I think that the blades are considered less offensive than just being crushed.
Did you think Brian De Palma was discussing that with the screenwriters?
Well, you know what? I mean, there may or may not have been studio executives involved. I hate to be a bit cynical here, but I think maybe there were some of those studio executives just crushing on the writer's creative freedom.
Yeah. Okay.
So go on.
So my first one is the fact that when Tom Cruise is being lowered into that black vault, I think that's what they call it, even though it's white, but whatever, into the black vault, the guy who's holding him up is distracted by a fucking rat that's running along the elevator vent. Or not the elevator vent, whatever it's called, just a vent. And obviously, number 1, I don't know why you'd be distracted by a rat in that crucial situation. But number 2, what the hell is a rat doing in the ventilation system of the CIA? Like, surely it'd be one of the most difficult ventilation shafts to get into if you're a rat, or if you're anybody. And then why would the rat even be in there anyway? Like, I'm pretty sure the CIA are pretty clean.
Yeah, also, like, I mean, they have all these detecting things, and one of them's like a laser that goes over this grid. Like, you'd think that this rat would be triggering all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
again, it just, I don't see how a rat would be in that situation. It's incredibly unlikely. 1, he'd get found out somehow, and number 2, like, no reason to be in it anyway. Do you want to give us your second one?
Well, actually, you know, I've got one that can easily go off of that, which is, I kind of was thinking the same thing as you, so I'll just say this one because it's basically very similar to yours. I wrote, why would they even have it so Ethan being suspended is entirely contingent on the other guy continuously holding him up? Like, I'm pretty sure, so when you go abseiling, there's a guy at the bottom who's kind of like working the ropes, but there's a sort of thing, like a mechanism that catches the rope, so that basically if you stop moving, the guy can just kind of make the rope hold. And you think that would be a pretty basic thing to do, like not have it so he's literally holding up, however many stone Ethan Hunt for the entire time he's down there. Just have like a little thing there to hold it in place. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, also I agree with you. It's completely so that's my last one actually. It's my last one sequentially. But yeah, just so it's building off yours, but we'll count it.
Okay, so my next one is the fact that this movie and other movies, just whenever they show a location like London, you have to have Big Ben or the London Bridge or the London Eye or whatever in the background. Like loads of movies do it, and this one did as well. The CIA director, whatever he's called, begins with a K, lands in London, and it's not just in some random building. It's literally right next to London Bridge. So everybody knows in the audience that he's in London right now. People who are struggling to follow the plot, it's the massive London Bridge in the background. Don't worry, guys, he's in London. Are you caught up yet? So yeah,
yes,
I just think that was a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that is. It's a classic, though. You got to have the recognizable landmarks so that people will know where you are. It's very convenient. It's like whenever anyone's in France, you can always see the Eiffel Tower in the background.
Yes, it's like if he had to go to India, he'd land and the Taj Mahal would be in the background.
Literally wherever he went, it would be there.
And if he lands in Brazil, he lands on the Christ the Redeemer statue.
Yes.
Like, literally on it.
Yeah, literally on it.
Yeah.
And if he went to Australia, he'd land on Ayers Rock.
Ayers Rock, yeah. Or the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, I was thinking of the Sydney Opera House too. Alright, yeah, that is true. But yeah, films do that. Okay, so next one for me. So the first thing I wrote, because I think I've seen this film before. I really struggle with my memory of which Mission Impossibles I've seen because I find them kind of similar, just between you and me.
Oh, that's a hot take, Michael.
Yeah. But I couldn't remember it, no matter what. I couldn't really remember the plot. I couldn't remember the twist. But one of the things I was thinking the whole time was when they were doing this kind of operation where this guy was stealing a list and they were trying to track the guy who was stealing the list. At first, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute. Why are they using the real list? And then I realized, of course, it's revealed that they aren't using the real list. But still, here's the thing. Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, is shocked to find, or he's surprised to find out that the list is a fake. The guy's like, oh, it wasn't a real list. We just used that to track him. And I was like, why is he shocked? Surely that is the obvious thing you would do. If you know a guy's coming, you know he's coming to steal this really valuable information, and you're planning on tracking that guy, surely it wouldn't cross anyone's mind for a second to be like, hey, let's use the actual list of valuable information to track him down. Yet Tom Cruise finds out oh wow, I can't believe you've done that. And then he's really worried, we've got to go track him down or else he'll get away with the list. And I'm like, you went along with this mission knowing that the risk was that he could steal the list anyway. So I just thought that was kind of silly. What's yours, Luke?
Yeah, that's a good one. So right at the end on the train, when Tom Cruise disguises himself as Jim to fool Claire, obviously getting her to reveal that she was in on it with Jim. Tom Cruise obviously has this mask on of Jim. I don't really get these masks that they
use them in all of them, yeah.
Yeah, they use them in all of them. They're very realistic, but I'm pretty sure that obviously there's a lot of unrealistic stuff that happens in these movies. That right there might be right at the top of unrealistic things, because I can't imagine. Obviously, you have prosthetics that people put on. Those take hours, to get ready. What Sacha Baron Cohen's doing right now, going all across America with these weird disguises. That literally takes him hours to get ready. Tom Cruise just pulls out a mask, like that, and obviously they do it throughout the Mission Impossible franchise. But this one in particular was very annoying, because how the hell could he get a mask of Jim that quickly?
Yes, yeah, that is true.
He's got less than 24 hours to prepare, and he manages to get himself this mask. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever seen? Are you aware of the Batman villain Clayface?
No.
His ability is he can mold his face. Basically, he was his origin makes sense, which of course that he was accidentally caught in an explosion where he was like cross-fed with some clay. I mean, obviously that's how it would work. So then he can like literally change his face to look like anyone. That's actually not the origin story, but I didn't want to tell you his real origin story because I just thought it would be funny if I pretended it was more stupid than it was. Because I hate DC. Wait. Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is he should have that power.
Clayface.
Clayface.
What a shit name. I'm sorry.
That's horrible. What about? Do you think Mr. Freeze is a good name? Good name.
Mr. Freeze is a good name.
What about Catwoman?
I mean, that's just not very creative, is it?
What about the great villain, Man-Bat?
Does that actually exist?
There's a villain called Man-Bat. And his thing is that he's like a werewolf, but he's a bat.
I'm not going to ask you to explain that, Michael.
Anyway, so I actually felt like, all I wanted to say is that if we had these prosthetics in real life, we wouldn't have to deal with so many terrible attempts to like recreate actors and, de-age actors in all these kind of, like, so for example, Carrie Fisher.
Yes, I knew you were going to pick that one.
Yeah, like, imagine if we just had like prosthetics that were that good, and it was just like, oh yeah, you want a completely accurate Carrie Fisher? I could give you one of those.
Like I said, the prosthetics aren't really my nitpick because there's a lot of them that stick stuff in this movie.
Yeah, how quickly you got them.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, my last one is they are getting into the. This is again they're kind of the whole thing with the hanging down on the rope. They have to get into this secure facility. What they do is they put something in front of the laser to block the laser. And here's what I'm thinking. Surely the way the lasers work is that they detect if something's been put in front of them, and then they trigger.
Yeah.
Like, I was just thinking to myself, if their plan is just to block the laser, I mean, Tom Cruise's body would also block the laser, but I'm pretty sure that would be the problem. So I was thinking, like, what are they using? They just need to be sticking something in front of it, and it's like, oh, the laser doesn't work anymore. Right.
That's actually a very good point. That's the thing. Like, you're just watching the movie and you're like, oh yeah, that would work. But actually, in real life, if you just stick something in front of the laser, like, it wouldn't redirect the laser. That's the whole reason why the laser is there. It would go off. So that's a good one.
And your last one, Luke?
My last one is Twice, Michael. Twice. You see a random American TV channel that has been broadcast in Britain. So obviously there's the first one where Claire's like, Ethan, you have to see this. And he walks into the room and he realizes his parents have been arrested. Obviously he's in London right now, and this is in the days before cable, so I have no idea how he's getting this American TV station. Like, would it have been that difficult just to use the BBC? I don't know. Yeah. And then obviously later on when they're outside, him and what's it called, Ving Rhames' character? I can't remember.
I don't know, Luke. To be honest.
I can tell by your yawning you're very enthusiastic about this.
Sorry. I was hoping I would finish the yawn before you asked me any questions.
So, yeah, Ving Rhames, Tom Cruise, outside of a pub, and obviously there's an American TV on in the background. Yeah, not an American TV on the background. Some American news on the TV in the background. Yet again. So I don't know why they couldn't just get the BBC. Like, but I imagine a drug bust that size would have made news in the UK. But whatever. Yeah, had to be lazy.
Look, and they had British TV at one other point because they were listening to the football.
Well, I think that was on radio, but yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, it could have been actually. Maybe I'm lying. Anyway, so those are our nitpicks, and now it's time to actually look at the film itself, and I guess we'll start by talking about the story.
Yeah. So the story is that it's something that we've all seen before. Guy gets betrayed by a person who he's very close to. In this time it was the mentor of Ethan Hunt, or the leader. Maybe he wasn't his mentor, I'm not sure. But basically, somebody that Tom Cruise respects, trusts, just completely fucks him over, and obviously kills his fellow teammates along the way. And Tom Cruise obviously has to prove his innocence, and eventually does. But I just, I was like, it's obviously going to be one of the people in his team who set him up. Like, it's just obvious. So I wasn't really surprised by it. But I guess, hey, it's easy, it's not difficult to do, so whatever.
Yeah, I was like kind of trying to predict the twist during it, and I remember at first the kind of Kriliger, I've already forgotten his name, the guy who's like trying to hunt down
it's Kitteridge.
It's Kitteridge, that's it.
Kitteridge, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't they made his name like a lot easier?
Yes.
Like Kevin.
Yeah, Kitteridge. So the first time I introduced him, I was like, oh, he's going to be like a bad guy because he seems kind of bad. Yeah. And then obviously he wasn't exactly a bad guy, but he was a bad force. So he wasn't like a bad person. He just...
I know, I think he's a bad person. Like, he sends the guy to Alaska who discovers that there's been a breach in security. Remember?
Why do you hate Alaska, Luke?
Nah, well, he's acting like it's a bad
thing. Is it
thing.
just because Sarah Palin's there, Luke? Is that why you hate it so much?
No. I don't hate Alaska, Michael. Why do you keep bringing this up? Like,
I'm sorry, Luke. It's just that I've had it every single time on the show. We might as well call it the Select and Dash Alaska podcast.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good podcast. I'd listen to that.
Yeah. Damn Alaska.
Yeah. So no, that's the thing. Like, he's a bad guy, but I think like. My God, your chair's creaking like mad.
Well, you know, that time it was because I actually had to pick something up, so that doesn't count.
That doesn't count, right? Okay. So, yeah, fucking Kitteridge guy. Yeah, like, from his perspective, you think about it, like, he comes to the conclusion that Tom Cruise is the mole. Obviously, they're trying to find a mole, and he's like, yeah, it's Tom Cruise. Makes sense. He needs the money. His parents aren't doing so well. Can't imagine the salary for a government agent is that high. So, yeah. I don't see the issue really in concluding that it was Tom Cruise that was the mole. Like, everybody else is dead. He's alive. You know, whatever. Like, the thing is, obviously, the film has to portray him as an antagonist, but I don't know. I think he was reasonable. Reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, I guess, I wasn't actually thinking about the identity of this mole for a lot of the film. I was just like, I'm just gonna let this film. And then I think I was like, oh, it's the woman. She was the mole. And I was thinking, it's kind of, when you think about it, I mean, yeah, it would make sense because, you know, women always. Actually, I was thinking that because it's kind of a bit of a stereotype of like the sexy woman is actually the bad guy. I don't remember which one it is, but there's one of the old James Bonds. The twist is that the sexy woman is a bad guy.
Yeah, well, maybe is actually a twist for James Bond, because there's a sexy woman in every James Bond movie. So it's like, oh, she's actually the bad guy this time, instead of Goldfinger or whatever. But yeah, I think in this, look, when Claire came back into the room, obviously Tom Cruise is looking to try and contact this Joe person. When Claire comes back into the room, and Tom Cruise realizes she's alive, and obviously she is the husband of the person who got killed, or we thought got killed in Jim. I was praying, Michael. I was like, oh, please don't make her fucking Joe. Please don't make her the one who's the mole. Like, I was just really praying that was the case, because it was like, I mean, that would be so shit if it is. It's so like, oh, it's the person who's working alongside you that's the mole. Obviously, it would make complete sense that she was the mole, because, you know, she survived as well. And thankfully, she wasn't exactly the mole, but she was working with the mole. So, you know, it wasn't that great, the twist. It wasn't as good as it could have been. I don't know.
It wasn't as good as It's Part Raptor.
No, nothing will ever top It's Part Raptor. So I think it's unfair to compare it to that. But yeah. So yeah, basically that's just the twist summed up. I thought it was okay. Like, it was, you can kind of see it coming. I mean, when's the first time you realised it was Jim?
Well, to be honest, the thing is, you don't find out Jim is alive until, so it's kind of like, I probably only really, I thought it was Jim, basically, I think, when he said, the thing is, like, I literally thought it was Jim about a second before they revealed it was Jim, so I can't claim, like, I mean, I was like, oh, look, he's alive. Didn't really think to myself, oh, he's probably the mole then. But when he said, oh, it's the Christy, I've already forgotten his name again.
Kitteridge.
when he said Kitteridge is the villain, I was like, my first thought was, oh no, if he's the villain, that's kind of stupid, because like he's already. It would be like if Professor Snape really was the bad guy in Harry Potter Philosopher's Stone. Like, oh yeah, look, the guy who's mean to everyone is the bad guy.
Yeah, well,
I was like, I was like, well, yeah. There was a second I was like, I hope that's not actually true, and I was like, it probably isn't. I was like, actually, I bet he's the bad guy, and then literally, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, I remember thinking to myself, I hope Ethan, it's not like Ethan Hunt just believes him and then, he betrays him later.
Oh,
and
that would have been stupid.
It doesn't actually happen. Obviously, immediately as he says it, Ethan Hunt like kind of works out that he's lying and it was him and stuff like that. So yeah, what about you, Luke?
Here's the thing, Michael. Obviously, like you said, when he's talking about Kitteridge, I was like, oh yeah, so Kitteridge, that's Kitteridge ruled out, because obviously they wouldn't reveal it with like half an hour to go in the movie. The twist is meant to be at the end. And that's the thing. Then they reveal Tom Cruise working it out like 10 seconds later. So it's not really a twist at the end. Isn't really a twist. The twist is that Tom Cruise knows, but we as the audience already know. So yeah, the twist doesn't really manifest itself in the most dramatic way possible.
No.
But also, I think I had an inkling that he wasn't actually dead, because of the way he fell off the bridge.
Oh, actually, you know what? I was thinking that. I guess it is kind of a...
Yeah, I
was thinking to myself, why did he fall off well, the first thing I was thinking is, why wouldn't they shoot him in the head?
Yeah.
Like, you don't actually... I tell you what, Luke, if I was a professional hitman, you do the old double tap. It's bang, and then, bang in the head.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, Luke.
That's how you do it. That's what all the pros do. Yeah.
Get it done.
So he's just like wobbling around on the path, and then he falls into the ocean. Not the ocean, the river. It's like, alright, okay, unless either this movie is really shitty, and that is actually a serious death, or he's not actually dead. And obviously it was the latter. The thing is, obviously, from the audience's perspective, he needed to fall in like that, like he would if he'd been shot, but all he needed to do was just literally, climb over the bridge and jump in the river. He really didn't need to do that. Pretend he was falling in the river.
He's a method actor.
Yeah, he's a method actor. Yeah. So yeah, that's the good old twist. I guess now we could talk about the actual plot. Do you have anything to say?
So I guess this film, it kind of has 3 main sequences. This is my working theory. The 3 main sequences are, number 1, the International Monetary Fund tries to kind of stop the guy stealing the things, and the whole stuff happens with them being betrayed. Number 2, you have them stealing the list, the knock.
Yeah. The knock. Knock stands for non-official cover. So that's what they're trying to steal.
And then the final thing you have is the kind of train, the fight on the train, basically. And those are the kind of 3 sequences I would identify. I guess my first thought was this film seemed like quite rushed.
Rushed? How do you mean?
In terms of the pacing, because it seemed like it was kind of, it wasn't at the beginning, but around the time when they go to the thing to steal the list, and it's kind of like, he explains everything that's wrong with it, and then literally the next scene is basically, he's like, this is everything that we've got to get through, and then literally, I guess it's kind of like I was thinking about Ocean's 11, because that's kind of an obvious thing to make a comparison to when it's sort of all the things you need to do, and it's showing you how you got to do them all, and I was thinking, oh yeah, now it's going to have them kind of working out how they're going to do it, but literally it cuts to them in the vent, basically.
The thing is, I kind of appreciate that. Because, I don't know, maybe I've watched too many of these movies where they just, set it all up, and then, takes about 10 minutes until they actually do the mission, and then, they plan it meticulously, and you see them planning it meticulously, and then something goes wrong, and so it's like, oh, all that fucking 10 minutes that we watched them planning it, well, that's now all out the window. I kind of like the fact that they just jumped into it. I can see
your argument. Yeah, I can see your argument, and I don't know if I could.
I did think that. I was like, oh, they're not messing around here, which I did like. Another thing actually I did like is often in these movies, like these mystery movies, what happens is they they do like a mission first. Obviously Tom Cruise and all of them lot, they do a mission, it's successful, maybe has a little bit of a hitch, but, everything goes to plan in the end. And then they come back to the base or whatever, so obviously this would be in Langley, in the CIA headquarters, and then they get the brief. And that is where the mystery begins, them getting the brief. What I liked in this movie is obviously the mystery begins in literally like the first scene. The start is, it's great. Like, it goes wrong, people die, it's like, oh, like, immediately we're into this mystery. Like, there's no 15 minutes where they have to figure out, or 15 minutes when, they do something that isn't connected to the actual plot, and then and then the brief is what starts the mystery. The mystery started by, actually seeing it happen, right at the start, which, I like. I know you said something, I can't remember which movie it was, Michael, but I think it was, what was it? Was it The Avengers? Where you were like, I don't really like the fact that they jumped into the plot right away. I wanted them to,
we had that discussion.
Do the normal stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was correct about everything.
Yeah. Thing is, I just wasn't expecting it. I was expecting this mission, the one in Prague, right at the start, to go well. I thought, you know what, they'll get the guy, they'll, photograph him stealing the knock list, then they'll arrest him and the person trying to buy the knock list, they'll report back to Langley, and then they'll get the mission that will, really kickstart the plot, and obviously the knock list will have something to do with the plot somehow. But that wasn't it. Immediately, their mission fails, which is, I just really appreciate that. I like how they got straight into it.
I actually do agree with you, that I liked, I think this film had to do quite a few things, and I think they probably couldn't have afforded to waste any time with something like that. I think it wouldn't, especially seeing as, it's worth noting that the thing about the Avengers stuff, I'll just kind of say that, is that my main problem was that literally the first scene kicked off the plot, whereas in this case, it was more like the first act kicked off the plot. Because I have to say, Luke, this film does start with a scene where it's like a guy is being interrogated to give a name, and there's a woman there and she's pretending to be drugged or something.
Yeah.
And see, that scene is irrelevant.
Okay, yeah, that scene is irrelevant, but it lasts for like a minute.
Yeah,
so I was okay with it.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, for example, I didn't mind that, is what I'm saying. But I would have, the actual scene with the whole looking for the knock stuff, would have been, at first, I was like, oh, maybe this will be, not relevant. I wouldn't have minded if it was not relevant at that point, but once it had gone on for a while, I was, it would have been a bit weird if it was like, oh yeah, and then we'll just go back. But yeah, it was, that was quite good. I suppose, the thing I liked about this film was that it did kind of have a sense of pace to it.
Right, just fast-paced, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was a bit like, I guess, okay, so here's my thing, for example. A lot of the criticisms you could make of this film are that, a lot of the stuff, like you said, a lot of the stuff, it makes sense if you don't think about it, but when you think about it, it kind of falls apart. Like, for example, how did he get that prosthetic thing so quickly? Or,
yes.
Some of the details with how they actually got into the stuff, actually got into the CIA area.
Yeah.
So I guess there are a few moments where it's kind of like they could have made the film a bit better by just spending a bit more time being and for example, another example of it being a bit too fast paced is, like you say, literally within the minute of finding out that Jim is alive, we get the kind of obvious reveal of, oh wait, it's him who's the mole.
Yes.
So
this movie, did not waste any time. Very fast paced. The thing is, if you look at the running time, it's only an hour 50. Just 1 hour 50 minutes long. That's it. And you consider how long most of these kind of movies are. They're probably 2 hours 15, just because there's a lot of plot, a lot of discoveries, just a lot of stuff to fit in. But yeah, this it was over quite quickly. And I guess maybe that's why people liked it a lot. because it was just like I did not mess around, got straight into it, and yeah, like it's pretty fun. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not against fast-paced action movies. I'm not against slow-paced action movies or slow-paced any type of movies. I think that they both have their advantages. But yeah, I think obviously it's pretty hard to get bored watching this because of how fast-paced it is. I think that's probably the key. That's probably why they went for this fast-paced style.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's not that difficult to. It's quite difficult to get bored during this film.
Yeah.
I guess the only problem with it is that sometimes it's a bit like it can be a bit hard. It's kind of like one of those things where I sort of felt like I was glazing over in a way, not necessarily bored, but just became almost like a passenger. Just watching this thing, which I know how film works, but it was like I was like, okay, so I guess they're there now, and then I guess which wasn't boring. But for example, I mean, you said that a lot of people found the plot convoluted.
Yeah.
I don't think the plot was convoluted exactly, but I think I can imagine people kind of like they watch this for the first time, and then they come out of it kind of thinking, almost like, what just happened? What was really happening in that whole film?
Yeah, what was really happening? But no, they paid for their ticket.
And
they enjoyed it. That's all that matters. Yeah. So, like you said, or like I said, pretty hard to be bored. But I guess the negatives of a fast-paced movie is that there's a lack of weight to everything that happens.
Yes.
So
exactly.
Obviously that can lead to a lack of engagement, particularly if, like you and I, we were actually reviewing the movie, and reflecting upon it. If that is the case, then there's nothing really that juicy to talk about or to think about, because everything just happens instantly, and the whole point is you're just meant to stuff your face with popcorn and just enjoy it and not think about it. So yeah, it's a strategy I respect. It's worked loads of times. So yeah, it's kind of like I think we have the same sort of analysis regarding Minority Report, another Tom Cruise movie, of course. Yeah. It's kind of like, it's very fast-paced, doesn't really stop, for a breather. Things are constantly happening. And obviously, maybe that's what Tom Cruise likes. Maybe he's a fan of that stuff.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I guess he does like, yeah.
Yeah, just like that. Okay, so I think, Michael, we've pretty much done with the plot.
I had one thing actually I wanted to ask. This isn't really a nitpick, but I was curious. Do you have any? I mean, I thought it was kind of weird that. I guess this could have been a nitpick. I thought it was kind of weird that Jim shot his wife. It just seemed like really bizarre.
I was going to get onto it in his character.
It was the character. Yeah, okay, I think okay. We'll do that. Actually, we'll do that then.
But
right, so let's talk about the.
Nah. There's actually the thing is, I was waiting to the end to talk about this because I wanted to talk about the two scenes in the movie which were really good and really bad. Now, obviously, you can probably guess which those are the scenes I'm talking about. The really good scene is when he's dangling in the CIA thing. But that's the thing, like, I believe that kind of that scene became pretty iconic because I've seen that replicated quite a bit.
Yes.
In, like, popular culture. And obviously, the scene that was just ridiculous was the finale, the final scene. And I've listed
everything about it.
Yeah, I've gone through and listed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things which are just unbelievable and pretty bad. So I'll go through them right now.
I'm excited to hear about them. Yeah.
So firstly, there's the elaborate plan of jumping off a moving train onto a helicopter. That just in itself, that needs to be questioned. Like, is there not an easier way for you to get off this train than that? Like, what if you're you jump up in the air and deploy like one of the, not a parachute or one of those chute things like that's stops you going like, then like you're good, aren't you? Then you just stop.
Jump into a trampoline.
Yeah.
Have a trampoline by the train. Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure why he had to, maybe it looked cool. Maybe this Jim guy is a fan of things looking cool. Next up, it's the I can't even read my own writing. Oh yeah, so there's the both of them crawling on the train. So obviously Jim has these, I don't know what you'd call them.
Some kind of, I want to guess they're electromagnets?
Electromagnet, maybe? Or like
that's what I'd use.
I don't know, they're like sucker things like that. I think they suck onto the train's roof.
Yeah.
Like it's more of that kind of thing. Like, I'm not sure what they are. I'm pretty sure they do exist though. So I'm not saying that's unrealistic. And fair enough, like he can do that. But then there's fucking Tom Cruise behind him, just like crawling along this moving train, and then fucking flipping in the air to turn his body around so he can crawl towards Jim. I was just like, oh my god, right? This movie, it had a semblance of realism before this like scene has completely gone out the window.
Oh, can we just say also, just inside, the scene looked really fake.
Yeah, it did, but it's like 1996, so I'm not going to really bash them too much for that. Then there was the moment which I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
I think I can. Is it the guy who pilots the helicopter?
He pilots the helicopter through the Channel Tunnel. I mean, come on, man. I thought he was surely going to die. Like, I thought,
I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of like one of those looks up, sees it coming, explosion, not flies a helicopter.
That would also been awful, because how can you miss like a massive tunnel coming at you? But yeah, so I thought he was just going to be unable to get out, and he would crash and die, and it'd just be Jim and Tom Cruise. That's the thing. I keep on referring to Jim as his character name, and Tom Cruise is
I keep doing that too.
John Voight and Tom Cruise battling on the train somehow. I don't know what would happen, but I thought that was going to be the case.
Oh, well, actually, Luke, it's funny you should mention what would happen, because, see, here's the thing. I've seen a film. I don't know what this film is, but it's a film where two people are fighting on the top of a train, and they're fighting in kind of like an underground tunnel. And what happens is, basically, the good guy gets the bad guy to kind of go on top of him. Like, get on top of him, kind of like choke him, whatever. Yeah. And then, of course, a sign, or kind of like a low-hanging sign, or some kind of thing hanging off the top of the tunnel, hits the bad guy as they're going around, bad guy dies. That is a thing that happens in a film. And I don't know what film it happens in, but I was thinking that would be what would happen in this film. That would be like, they have a fight on top of the train in the tunnel, and then the way the bad guy would die is to be honest, he could just be thrown off. There are like lots of cool ways he could have died that would have been less ridiculous. And also, it's kind of annoying that he killed both of them in one go.
Well, we'll get onto that, Michael. We'll get onto that. So obviously the French guy pilots the helicopter into the tunnel, which is ridiculous. And then the thing is, I thought, he'd struggle in the tunnel and crash. But he seems to be doing a perfectly amicable job, to be honest, of piloting a helicopter in a fucking tunnel. It's like, I would imagine that would be extremely tight. The blades would hit the roof, but no, apparently it's all okay. I was just, it was just awful. Next up, okay, so they both jump onto the fucking helicopter. Or what are the bits at the bottom called on a helicopter?
Rungs?
Wouldn't be rungs.
Legs.
Yeah, I was thinking legs, but they weren't actually legs. Stands, yeah. Whatever it's called, the piece of equipment that holds the helicopter up. Maybe the leg stand, whatever. They both jump onto them. Then after that, Tom Cruise gets out his chewing gum, blows up the helicopter, and then is catapulted, literally, towards the train, and manages to hang on to the train and survive. I don't know what's more unrealistic, that or somehow a helicopter being able to, or a pilot being able to pilot a helicopter inside the Channel Tunnel. But I have a feeling it was probably Tom Cruise. The fact, how does he not injure himself? The helicopter blows up, and it's like he's just fine. It's like he's not affected by fire and explosions, and all that he does is catapulted towards the train, and he manages to hang on. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that is something out of a cartoon.
Yes, I agree. It's
and
nonsense.
then the last one is the blade stops an inch from his face, because of course it does. Of course it fucking does. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But the scene when he's in the CIA headquarters in Langley, that's good. And it's just a shame it's countered by that. Seriously, up until that point, I was like, this film obviously is, stretching what is realistic. I was like, obviously some of the stuff wouldn't happen. Some of the stuff is not very believable. It's not that great a movie, but it's okay. I've seen worse. And then that final scene happened. I was like, okay, right. Clearly they just were like, nah, fuck it. Let's just have some guy pilot a helicopter in the Channel Tunnel and Tom Cruise jumping off that exploding helicopter onto like a fast-moving train. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. And throwing the realism book out the window. So yeah, that was...
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely redonkulous.
Redonkulous, Michael. Redonkulous. It was a shame. It was a shame. They lowered themselves right there. So yeah, that's basically disappointment of a scene. Next up, I think we should talk about the characters.
Yes.
So, we have Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt.
Yep.
Yeah. It's Tom Cruise. Name me something about Ethan Hunt's personality, Michael.
Ethan Hunt is a Scientologist. When did Tom Cruise become a Scientologist?
I don't know, but...
I'm going to guess early 2000s, but yeah.
Yeah. Michael, that's what I was going to talk about at the end.
Okay, I thought so.
Did you actually think of Scientology?
Yeah, well, I thought, it's one of the things that kind of like always one thinks about when it comes to Tom Cruise, and I know you like to talk about important issues in this show of ours, so anyway.
So describe Ethan
Hunt. Ethan Hunt works for a organisation that is able to predict crimes before they happen.
His appearance or his job?
It's the Plinkett.
Yeah.
The Plinkett treatment.
Yeah.
He is very fond of running.
He's American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He likes to travel.
He likes to travel.
I can tell you something about his personality based on a different film. In Mission Impossible 2, he climbs a mountain for no reason, and that tells us that he likes to climb mountains for no reason.
Yeah, so it's weird that this guy, Ethan Hunt, obviously played by Tom Cruise, has managed to fucking make a whole franchise, or a whole franchise can be built on this character, because he's so boring. And you consider, like, maybe some people have compared him to, like, James Bond. James Bond has got, some characteristics, some traits.
James Bond has loads of traits. We love it. Bit of Bondy.
Yeah.
Even Jason Bourne has traits.
Even Jason Bourne has some traits. Even Jason Bourne's more exciting than this guy.
Even Arnold Schwarzenegger in the film Collateral Damage has traits.
Like, the thing is, Ethan Hunt is such a bland name as well. It's just the most bland name for a bland character.
Makes me think of Ethan Hawke.
Well, that would make sense because their names are quite similar.
And he kind of looks a bit like Ethan Hawke when you really think about it, especially when he was young.
Yeah. So, there you go. Ethan Hunt, played by Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, just another action hero. Like, I know I haven't seen The Mummy, but if you take his performance in The Mummy, and again, I haven't seen Mission Impossible 6, and his performance in Mission Impossible 6, they could be the same character. Like, I'm not sure, but if you told a person who'd never watched these two movies that this was the same character, they'd be like, oh yeah, I can believe that. I'm just guessing here, but I think that's probably the case.
I believe it. Yeah. Especially since it looks like he's doing Tom Cruise stuff in The Mummy.
Yes.
Like, in the trailer, which everyone knows because it's hilarious, he's like on a plane that's falling to the ground going,
Fucking great. Next up, there's John Voight as Jim Phelps.
Yep. You don't really see much of him, to be honest, do you?
No,
what
you do not.
It's just so wonderful.
So, okay, you talked about him shooting his wife. It's so weird. Like, he was gonna escape with millions of dollars with his wife. That was the plan. Then he just decided to shoot her.
It makes no... Like, I didn't even realize it happened until I saw her lying on the floor, and I was like, wait a minute. What?
Wait, did he just shoot his wife? Wait, why did he shoot Ethan Hunt? Why did he
it's so weird.
Why did he shoot his wife?
It doesn't make any... Like, I mean, maybe... Okay. See, I don't know. Like, I don't think the film's clear, but I think maybe what we're supposed to be seeing is he went to shoot Ethan Hunt, Ethan Hunt blocks the shot, or sorry, moves the gun out of the way, and it accidentally fired at his wife.
No.
But I don't know.
I don't think so. Because then he'd be distraught, probably.
Yeah, exactly, that's the thing, and that's the problem.
And Ethan Hunt would also then have effectively killed
yeah, exactly.
fucking Claire, which obviously he's the hero, that can't happen.
So yeah, basically, he's a bad guy who does bad guy things because he's a bad guy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to find a reason for why he'd do that. Maybe he's insecure about the fact that Tom Cruise likes Claire, but he said before that Claire was, well, I can't remember, but
he basically says she would charm Tom Cruise into
charming Tom Cruise. So like that was part of the plan, obviously, or he seems to make it seem like it was part of the plan and not something he should be upset about. So why is he shooting Claire? Is he that annoyed by the fact that she doesn't want Tom Cruise killed? Is he that pissed off? Is he that fragile, insecure, thin-skinned, whatever?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's the only reason I can think why he'd shoot his wife, who he's meant to be in on it with. Like, his wife helped him, like, kill all those people. Like, she's obviously quite loyal. And then he just shoots her. Interestingly, Michael, obviously the character, Jim Phelps, is actually from the original TV show, Mission Impossible. Now, I don't know if you knew that Mission Impossible was originally a TV show.
I did know it. Did you also know there was a TV show in the 60s called The Avengers, which was a British television show?
Yes, yeah. I've seen it before when searching for Avengers. Yeah. So the thing is with that TV show, I don't know, maybe it was running like from 68 to 73, I think. So they must have had some nostalgia for the 60s in the 90s. That would explain Austin Powers as well. So fucking Jim Phelps' character. Actually, I've got some interesting stuff to tell you about this, Michael. Some stuff which might, make you go, ooh. So,
okay, I'm ready.
Several cast members of the original 1966 to 73 TV series reacted negatively to the film. Actor Greg Morris, who portrayed Barney Collier in the original television series, was reportedly disgusted with the film's treatment of the Phelps character, and he walked out of the theatre before the film ended. Peter Graves, who played Jim Phelps in the original series as well as the late 1980s revival, also disliked how Phelps turned out in the film. So yeah, obviously Jim Phelps is a real bad... That's the thing, like, the thing is, I was questioning whether this was a TV show, because obviously in the opening credits it's like Mission Impossible, and then it shows all the cast doing very Mission Impossible-y things. I was like, this looks like a TV show. And then obviously I checked Wikipedia and I was like, oh, this was a TV show. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. It's a homage to the original TV show, so that's why they did it like that. And so I was like, Jim Phelps, and if you look at the Wikipedia plot thing, it's like... I'll just get it back up here. Years after the events of the series, Jim Phelps and his team, the Impossible Missions Force, attempt to retrieve the CIA non-official cover, not from the American Embassy in Prague.
Part of the same canon.
Yeah, exactly. That's
crazy.
Well, obviously the Jim Phelps character, like I just said, was in it in the 60s and 80s, but like apparently things in the 80s led up to this movie. So I was like, so this Jim Phelps guy, he was part of the movie beforehand. Obviously they got a different actor. John Voight wasn't in the original TV series or the 80s revival. And so when they made him out to be the bad guy, I thought, that's really interesting, because obviously he was one of the good guys in the series.
Well, that makes it even more ridiculous that his character is so...
Yeah, his character's just a prick. Like, it's a real dick.
It's kind of like, because that kind of ruins it more, because it's like that's an interesting idea of taking a character who actually has been part of it for ages and having him turn on the crew, the gang, the Impossible Squad. But he's not written as if he is an established character he's written literally as a character who was, given the sole purpose of turning out to be evil.
Yeah, exactly.
The old mentor who's in charge, but he betrays the cause.
I can understand, like, imagine if you were part of the original series and you especially if you were Peter Graves, who played this guy, and all of a sudden, like, he turns around and it's the bad guy in the movie. It's like, okay, we handed this Mission Impossible franchise off to Hollywood, whoever the fucking people that made it were. Just trying to look, Paramount Pictures. We gave it to Paramount, and they fucking turn it into this thing which is, I imagine, completely just offensive. Well, certainly to Barney Collier, who walked out before the film ended. He was certainly offended by characterization of Jim Phelps. So yeah, it's quite controversial. But yeah, I guess if you were a fan of the original TV series, you probably wouldn't have liked this movie, given how they treat Jim Phelps, who I imagine would have been like a beloved character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least the Baywatch film's good.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking about every film they've made that's basically just they made a Thunderbirds film. Tell you what, people do like taking their TV shows from the 60s or from the past in general and just be like, let's make it into a film. Charlie's Angels film. I think Charlie's Angels is a TV show.
Yeah, so I'm reading a quote from Martin Landau, who played Roland Hand in the original series, who also expressed his disapproval concern in the film. He said, when they were working on the early incarnations of the first one, so this one, they wanted the entire team to be destroyed, done away with one at a time. I was against that. It was basically an action-adventure movie and not a mission. Okay, that's just what it was called, apparently, or referred to, just Mission. Mission was a mind game. The ideal mission was getting in and out without anyone knowing we were there. So the whole texture changed. Why volunteer to essentially have our characters commit suicide? I passed on it. The script wasn't that good either. So that's interesting. So all the people then who died at the start were maybe in the late 1980s TV series?
No.
Which just makes it quite even more offensive. They all just died inside 10 minutes. Oh, that's great.
There is a severe lack of reverence when you put all this into perspective.
Yeah. Can you imagine doing that with like Breaking Bad? Or I don't know. I mean, this series wasn't probably Breaking Bad levels of popularity.
I don't know, because I guess not that many people know about the original. I think like a good analogy would be something like Baywatch or even Thunderbirds, because most people know about Thunderbirds and Baywatch. Even like I guess like a lot of people probably haven't watched Thunderbirds or else, but like there's lots of kind of TV shows people made. Imagine if like I don't know any of the characters of Baywatch. I haven't seen Baywatch, but I think it would be kind of ridiculous if they did have like a Baywatch film and literally the first scene was the characters from Baywatch.
What if they did that in Star Wars?
Yeah, there we go.
Well, they did, that'd be great. What a bold choice that would be.
Get on it, Ryan. I've already forgotten his name.
Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
No, well, the comparison would be if a TV show ended in around 2010 or 2011, was brought back today. What TV show ended
in 2010?
Yeah.
I'm going to find out.
And brought back. And, like, obviously it ended, it wasn't like a drama or whatever. It was like a kind of a fun TV series. And then they made a movie about it. And then they all just died, like within the first 10 minutes, all the main characters. I don't know if you can find a comparison. I know you're searching right now.
Yeah, I am. I'm on it.
But yeah, I can't believe they did that actually. I don't want to call it brave. I just want to call it like dismissive, like carefree. They just didn't give a shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait.
You got anything or not?
No, see, the thing is actually, it's kind of a problem because I don't watch that much. Oh, here's one. Hawaii Five-0. Everyone knows Hawaii Five-0.
Wait, did that end in 2010?
So there was a remake of it.
Yeah, that kind of counts actually.
Or what about, these are other popular TV shows. I looked up TV shows around 2010. Sherlock. I don't know if that's coming back, but imagine if they did a Sherlock film. Sherlock died. You wouldn't like that?
No, not Sherlock. Sherlock survives because it's Sherlock. But John Watson dies.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah.
Who's the old woman of 22 Baker Street?
I don't know.
Mrs.
I forget these things.
He dies. The detective, like the Lannister or something, guy with grey hair. He dies. They'll die in the first 10.
What about Downton Abbey?
God,
good one.
Yeah.
What about the IT crowd and they make a film and all the characters die?
Moss dies.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. So
so what we've learned is it's quite hard to find a direct comparison.
Yeah, it is quite hard, but
But if there was one, that's what it would be like.
Yes, that's what it would be like. So, we probably should have talked about that earlier, but seeing as I think it's relevant because Jim Phelps he was the only person who was in this movie from the original cast, obviously throughout the movie and until the end. So yeah, I think it was right to talk about that when concerning Jim Phelps.
I agree. Let's talk about who's your next character, Luke.
Emmanuel Biet as Claire Phelps.
Okay, I want to talk about this character.
Yeah, go for it.
This film, it seemed weird, okay? And there's two things that kind of I thought were a bit weird about the way this character was treated. The first one is that the scene where she's kind of being searched seemed weirdly sexual.
That's just your twisted mind, man.
No, see, I don't know, he's pushes her over the bed, takes off her clothes,
he takes off her jacket.
No, takes off her jacket, and he's pins her down. I don't know, I mean, I'm just saying he probably wouldn't have done that if she was a man.
Well, we are talking about Tom Cruise here, Michael.
Yeah, who knows? And then the second thing is that, the film almost seemed to not want to acknowledge her agency, because it was the way her death was treated, it was like she wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
Basically, it's she's not really a bad guy, but she becomes a bad guy because her husband's a bad guy. Yeah. And then her husband just shoots her, and Tom Cruise has this weird romantic moment with her, even though she should be a bad guy. And again, it seems as if the film's almost she's a pretty woman, therefore she's not really a bad guy. She's just a sexy woman who happens to be in
with the wrong man.
Yeah, and it's I don't know.
Yeah, so, well, I said before, I was really hoping that she wouldn't be the villain, because that would really be fucking annoying. But, she kind of was, so it was kind of annoying. So that's it. Then next up, we have Ving Rhames as Luther Stickle. This guy's still in these movies, apparently.
Yeah, I kind of knew that. He's also in other films.
Is he?
Yeah, I just thought I'd say that for this one actor.
That's great.
We've discussed many actors, but I just thought it was worth pointing out this actor in particular has been in other films.
Ving Rhames, solid. I like the fact that he was a hacker. I think that was.
Do you think it was woke?
It was very woke. He wasn't the bodyguard. He was the intricate guy. You know.
Yeah.
See.
I think he should have been the gangster. I think he should have been I'm gonna pop a cap in these guys' asses. I should have had a line.
The Michael Bay version of this movie.
Yeah. And then obviously the hacker should have been a straight white male nerd.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way you got to do it.
Well, they kind of got that with the guy at the start. What was it called? Jack, who met his end unceremoniously. And obviously they got Simon Pegg in these new ones as well.
Yeah,
decent.
Classic Simon Pegg. It's kind of weird to think the new movies and this movie are the same movies.
Yeah, very weird.
I don't feel the continuity between them.
Next up, Vanessa Redgrave is Max. So she is Maxine, or Max, whatever. The person who obviously wants to get the knock lists to do terrible things with them. The thing is, she's probably a pretty evil person, but she has a nice personality. So at the end of the day,
they don't establish much of what her deal is. She's actually probably one of the more interesting characters in the film, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't seen a lot of the other movies or Mission Impossible movies, but I imagine if she were to return, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think you're right. She probably does.
Then we get Henry. What is his last name?
Is this Frenchy guy?
No. Cezerny is a Canadian film actor and television actor. He's the guy that plays Kitteridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's got a very big jaw. I just want to point that out. But yeah, apart from that, like we said before, the bad guy, even though I think his conclusions are pretty good, it just has to be the antagonist because he's against Tom Cruise. Yeah. Next up is Jean Reno as Frank Krieger. This is the guy. Oh my God, he's got in so much fatter since then. Christ. I'm just looking at a picture of him on Wikipedia. It's like his eyes so small and his mouth is so small. It's just like, it looks nothing like he did back in '96.
This guy was also in Leon the Professional.
Yeah, that's where I recognised him from.
That's all I could think about.
Maybe Kyle really liked.
Yeah, every movie Kyle really likes is a movie I can no longer enjoy on any meaningful level.
Did he get us to watch this movie?
Did he get us to watch Leon?
Leon, yeah, wasn't that his idea?
You know what? Okay, so I think we were listing title films, and I think again this might have been another example of actually being my fault. Like again with Ip Man, basically I was like, oh, Ip Man, that's a well-reviewed film.
Ip Man.
But yeah, like, and I think literally in this case it's the same thing. I was like, oh, Leon, that's a well-reviewed film. And see, the thing is, I think in this case though, I think he'd never seen Ip Man before, and he just decided he likes it. Mm-hmm. I think in the case of Leon the Professional, he had actually
he'd seen it before.
Yeah, and he did already like it. But I was like, oh, that's a good film. So I was on board to watch it the first time.
Yeah,
because I had actually never seen it before. But
the thing is, that's stuck in my mind that he liked that movie, and obviously the movie in places is quite creepy.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
He's saying Carl's a peep. You know, Carl's got a girlfriend now.
Wait, how do you know that?
Well, I'm kind of making an inference. So you know how, like, usually...
Are you stalking him?
So occasionally I will look because I want to know if he's died from a heart attack yet. No.
What do you say? Like, there's a 20% chance I die.
I know. But yeah, I'm occasionally I like stalk a lot of people, but like just out of interest. So it's like I'll just think like, oh, I remember this person I used to know. I wonder what they're up to. That's actually, I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that's the thing I do, Luke. I think to be honest, you should get over it. But anyway, so Kyle, I can't wait until I forget to cut this. Literally just an entire conversation about just like people we knew from movie and the intimate personal details that can be learned from Facebook.
Okay, so you can talk about Kyle and Leon the Professional, and then cut it.
And then maybe, yeah.
So, okay, I think we should continue on.
I can't. Of course, we're talking about that guy.
Well, let's get this done in
the
next
nothing,
15 minutes.
Nothing interesting about Frenchie.
No, not really at all. I mean, again, he was the person who killed Kristen Scott Thomas, but yeah, like, it's a pretty big coincidence that Ethan Hunt also hired him.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Kristen Scott Thomas, Sarah Davis.
She's the one who literally died right away. Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah,
we don't.
She gets stabbed. Like, how does she get stabbed though? Doesn't she
like weird.
have the reaction speed?
I thought that was very strange that she got like stabbed through a gate.
Yeah. That is quite
a very good secret. Like, that's the main thing I would be offended by. Like, most people died for very stupid reasons.
Yeah, like she's a fucking IMF person.
Yeah.
Or what's it called? Impossible Missions Force. So she's used to impossible missions, yet she can't fucking not get stabbed.
Here's a question no one knows the answer to, Luke. What does SAS stand for?
Save our sovereignty.
That doesn't even work, because it's SAS.
It's the Brexit spelling.
Save our bloody sovereignty.
Save our sovereignty.
You know what, Luke? I think you're right.
Yeah, I am right. So yeah, that's all the characters. Basically, I was going to talk about Tom Cruise's Scientology, but I think we can just agree it's pretty weird. I mean, he would randomly, when they're in their 20s, I think it was in 20s, join a religious cult, just because you thought you were more special than other people.
Yeah, that would be.
He would do that.
It's crazy. Imagine doing
doing that
when you're in your 20s, just joining a cult, old Scientology, the old. Do you know what though? I feel like you're razzling me a bit, but I'm going to be a big man here and say the most important thing, which is Tom Cruise has never actually done anything Scientology-y in his films. So here's the thing again.
No.
Do you know that Will Smith is a Scientologist? Well, yes.
No.
Yeah.
Is he actually?
He keeps it really secret, but the thing is, okay, in his film After Earth, by M. Night Shyamalan, funnily enough, full circle. He like a lot of the kind of mythos to that film is literally taken straight out of like the Scientology mythos. And then there's
so that's why he agreed to do
the most
it.
famous one is of course John Travolta, who literally made a film based on an L. Ron Hubbard novel. But yeah, like a lot of Scientologists kind of like they try and sneak lots of Scientology into their stuff. Scientology is weird. Like Scientology is really strange because like I know there's a joke by Joe Rogan which is that it says a cult, the difference is between a cult and a religion is in a cult there's someone at the top who knows it's all bullshit, whereas in a religion that person's dead, which I think is a very offensive thing to say. But here's the thing, okay? Whatever you think about, say, any religion, like Judaism, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, like there's a certain kind of credibility to it because it's been around for a while. Like it's
that's what makes it credible,
like,
is it?
I mean, so the thing is, okay, like it makes sense. Like I'll pick Hinduism so that I'm being objective. There's a certain logic to, well, 3,000 years ago, or sorry, not 3,000 years ago, 3,000 BC, when civilization itself was being founded, this religion formed, you know, and it's like the oldest religion, you know, there's kind of logic you can see of like, well, you know, maybe the gods came down and they kind of connected with humanity. But with Scientology, it's literally like this guy who wanted to be a science fiction writer couldn't get any of his science fiction published, and also he wanted to be a psychiatrist, but he couldn't get his psychiatry recognized by any official institutions. So he started a religion where the mythos of the religion is the exact science fiction that he couldn't get published, and the practices of that religion are directly related to the psychiatric method that he couldn't get recognized by any official psychiatric bodies. And it's true. And you just think, like, it doesn't make sense that so many smart, like, well, not necessarily smart, but like it would make so, because usually with cults, the thing is, it's kind of like crazy people. Like, and, you know, it's like the people who really don't have anything to lose. They kind of have, unstable. And you can just connect people. It's like a group of people, and then they will commit a mass suicide. You know, fun times had by all. But with Scientology, it's literally like these people are millionaires. They, like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't, like, I really should watch that Louis Theroux documentary.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's just like Scientology as a concept is just so weird to me because it's like it makes sense that I'm going to go back to comparing it to other religions. Like, it makes sense that you get celebrities who kind of say, well, I became a Christian because I realized that I needed more in my life. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I became a Christian because I realized I was like the classic Simpsons line, I used to spend all of my days partying and sleeping with beautiful women until Ned and his Bible study group convinced me I could have more. And Homer says, professional athletes, always wanting more. Yeah, like that makes sense, because it's like, there's a genuine truth to the concept of spiritual experiences and the idea of like, there's something greater you can have in your life. And even if you think that those experiences are naturalistic in origin, it makes sense. But like Scientology, it's like, oh yeah, I wanted to, what do they want? You've seen the documentary, Luke. Explain it.
Yes. Well, it was a while ago, but it's just like a social hierarchy thing. Like, they're clearly like lost. They're clearly, the people who join, who aren't Will Smith and Tom Cruise, are like lost. And, you know, they've got nothing on in their life. They probably like had some bad relationships, you know. And they're like, oh, these people are going to look after you. They're going to, you know, treat you like family, you know, that kind of thing. You know, they're going to be there for you. Sounds appealing. If you've got nothing else and you're looking for something like that, you know, obviously, you have to be kind of a weak person to join. And obviously some people just
you almost joined a cult.
Yes. Exactly. You have to be like Dylan, basically. You have to be like, oh, I can just be manipulated by anybody and swayed like by anybody who says anything with any sort of conviction. And that's the thing, that these are the people who join. As for Tom Cruise and Will Smith, I don't know. Like, maybe it's about feeling better than other people.
Yeah.
Just, it's the only reason I can think of. Because you have to spend a lot of money to, like, be higher up in the Scientology hierarchy. Like Tom Cruise is, he's very high up because he's spent a lot of money. So why has he done that? I don't understand.
But that's the thing. I mean, to be honest, Luke, I hate to fall for it, but there must be something. There must be some truth to it, or else they wouldn't be spending all this money, Luke. Let's go.
Yeah, I guess so. It's the same kind of thing with like Trump and to a lesser extent Brexit, but especially you look at Trump, like his supporter base are literally like a cult. They just believe anything he says, thinks he's the most amazing president ever. Like when all the evidence points to the complete opposite, and you're just like, well, you're asking like, why would somebody join Scientology, or what's in it for you? Like, what's in it for these people to support Trump?
Yeah.
What's in it for them? Why do they keep on, trying to explain away all of his issues, all of the problems? And it's just like some people are just wired like that, where they're just like so connected to, or looking to, I guess have a strong leader, tell them what to do, what to think, I'm not really sure. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever. But yeah, certainly, I don't know why Tom Cruise is doing it.
Basically, someone's messed up. Probably Satan's
Someone's
fault.
messed up. Yeah, like humans, we're very smart, but at the same time, just the fact that Scientology exists, and, like I said, Trump's got like 40% of America supporting him, you have to just wonder, maybe we aren't
Maybe we're
smart.
actually two different species. Maybe there's like a smart species and a stupid species, and no one's like, they used to be Neanderthals. Maybe they're actually still around and no one's realized, because the only difference is that there's like a species who thinks that it's a good idea to be stupid, and no one's actually noticed, and that literally explains every problem in the world. That explains why the Transformers films make billions.
Ah, yes. Exactly.
So there's actually
so much evidence that humans are stupid, but there's so much, like the fucking gap between like what humanity has achieved and like the lowest possible things that humanity has also achieved is just massive.
Yeah. Let's review Idiocracy, and then we can discuss eugenics.
Yeah. Is that a documentary?
Literally, I feel like that's like a quote everyone says, like, oh, these people think Idiocracy was a documentary or something. That's like. The other good one is, these people think 1984 was a handbook. It was a how-to guide.
Yeah. The thing is, like, what Trump said, like, 2 days ago, is like, oh, what you're seeing, what you're reading is not what's happening.
Always with East Asia.
That was very, like, I know people have compared him to 1984 and about that whole thing, but that was very 1984. That could have been literally straight out of 1984. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the predictions for Mission Impossible 6.
It's got really good reviews.
So, yeah, it has, and as did Mission Impossible 5.
Mission Impossible 4,
maybe I'll have to watch them. Yeah, all the ones with Simon Pegg. So he's clearly the MVP of the Mission Impossible series now. But yeah, I was just wanting to ask you, because obviously it's very good. It'll be kind of the same as all the other ones, but do you think this could be the last?
I think it will be the last one, because we'll all die due to global warming. So it'll be the last film ever made.
Well, I hope not. Otherwise we won't be able to review Ghostbusters.
To be honest, I think we'll just review it from our air-conditioned bunkers. Can't wait. We laugh, but deep down, we're deathly afraid.
Like, I just hope I'm gonna die before.
I don't know. See, I mean, like, the good thing is, it's really going to be more like a kind of Blade Runner thing, where it's like there will be a select few for whom it won't be a problem. Like, everyone's thinking like Armageddon, but it's more like, I think most dystopias and like kind of apocalypses, it's not Armageddon, it's Blade Runner. It's not everyone. Everyone in the same boat, Luke, and that's what you have to remember. If you can just get into a position where you can, live in a gated community defended from all these starving masses who can't be fed because all the arable land has been destroyed by the burning sun, then you'll be fine. And that's what we should be looking towards. And that's the incentive to succeed in life, so that you're not one of the people who dies from starvation or gets shot trying to cross the border into a country that isn't semi-arid.
It's the same kind of thing with Brexit. Like, just people on Twitter who are wealthy saying, "Come on, we can pull together. Let's not make sure this is a failure." You know, who cares if they're stacking up food and medicine? You know, like we can do this. And it's like, yeah, these people won't have to live with the problems that Brexit will inevitably cause if we do indeed don't get a deal with the EU.
Oh.
Kind of the same thing.
Oh dear, what a sad state of affairs. So maybe it's sad. Yeah, but to answer your question, I don't know, like, genuinely, yeah, to answer your question more seriously and ignore the anxiety over real problems that actually matter.
Our country's inevitable collapse.
Like, to be honest though, here's the thing. The good news is that the first thing that's going to happen when global warming destroys all the arable land is that millions, if not billions, depending on how far the population's got at that point, of third world refugees are going to flock to Europe. And because by that point we will be full-blown white ethno-state fascist, we will be poised to defend against them. And therefore, again, we as white men will profit from fascism, which is really all that matters.
Yeah.
That's the classic.
Let's go fascism.
Let's go. But only when environmentalism doesn't work, which it won't.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so yeah, ultimately, the thing is, like, just to actually take the question slightly seriously, the thing is, like, I almost feel like until it stops making money, they'll probably keep doing it, but maybe they'll try and reboot it or something.
Reboot what?
Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about global... Yeah. That's probably correct.
Yeah.
Until it stops making money.
Reboot
it.
Mars.
Reboot it, exactly. It's pretty accurate. So yeah, Mission Impossible, yeah, probably, again, still stops making money. Tom Cruise maybe getting too old. How old is Tom Cruise? Do you want to guess how old Tom Cruise is? Just guess.
50s, I think, 58.
56.
Okay, not bad.
So yeah, no, not bad, but like, he's just 4 years away from being 60. Like, a 60-year-old action hero. That's madness.
I guess it's like, I mean, Sylvester Stallone. He can be an expendable soon.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, but I mean, like, Tom Cruise actually does, like, athletic stuff in the movie stuff.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, like, yeah, that's the thing.
Props to him for doing that.
He doesn't seem like the aged action hero he should be. Like, Bruce Willis just kind of looks grumpy and shoots a gun. Sylvester Stallone looks grumpy and shoots a gun. That's basically what aged action heroes are supposed to do, but he's just, like, running around. Yeah. So, to sum up then, on Mission Impossible, I think it's the right time to do that. You might want to cut that stuff about global warming, though. I don't know. It seems a bit out of place in a 1996 action movie. There's nothing to do with global warming. You're right.
Yeah, alright. Back then they were all just doing the Macarena. That's what they were focusing on. So, yeah, Mission Impossible, just a standard action movie. You know, it's got a nice... Well, it's not really a nice twist. The twist was a bit shit. The plot, a bit complicated, but, you know, decent. I mean, the final scene really takes away from what could have been, you know, a solid movie. That final scene does reduce my enjoyability and how highly I do rate the movie. But then there's that scene in Langley with Tom Cruise dangling on the ceiling, which was also pretty good. But just the awful final scene just outweighs the Langley scene, unfortunately. So yeah, by the way, I just wanted to point this out, and I hadn't before. You know, obviously the code name for Phelps is Job.
Yeah.
After the Bible thing. I whenever he said that, I couldn't stop thinking of Arrested Development. I don't know if you've seen Arrested Development.
No, but you've spoken to me about Arrested. You've told me a story about a woman who takes her boobs out all the time.
Yeah, that's the assistant who actually, that woman actually is attracted to Job, in the movie. Well, not in the movie, in the TV series. But yeah, Job, played by Will Arnett, he's my favourite character in Arrested Development. He's just hilarious. And yeah, you should definitely watch the show.
Yeah, well, you know what, Luke? Someday I will, but you know my rule, I don't watch a TV show until I can binge watch it. Is it finished yet? Has the run of the show finished?
They did 3 seasons between 2003 and 2006, won like Emmys and stuff in that period, but got cancelled because of low ratings, because people don't like good quality comedy, they just like shit. And then it was rebooted in 2014, which in 2014, what happened was they couldn't get all the cast together at the same time, so what they did is they did a storyline for one of the characters, then a storyline for another character, a storyline for another character, and then recently, in 2018, Netflix compiled it all together to make it look like an actual TV show. Like, we go from this character to this character, instead of a whole storyline involving one character, and then another after that. And in season 5, which has just been released, actually 2 months ago, I think. They've done halfway through season 5, and they're doing another, they've released the middle of the half of season 5. I don't quite know what.
So what you're saying is that I should binge watch seasons 1 to 3 and then wait until they finish this run? Because
seasons 1 to 3 are very, very good, especially seasons 1 and 2. I mean, I enjoyed season 3 a lot because it goes kind of jump the shark a bit in season 3 with some of the stuff, but I kind of enjoy that kind of comedy. But seasons 1 and 2 are just so good. Like
bars on lock, my development's arrested. I'm the bestest. On a bad day, I spit asbestos. Yes,
it's on
impressive.
Netflix.
You're steady playing second.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Joe. Yeah.
My flow ends recessions. I'm fresh as Christ. Oh, bloody.
What did you think of Mission Impossible, Michael?
So this film.
I need to give it a rating, actually. 6 out of 10.
Okay. So I said that I would split this film into 3 parts or acts, and I already said what those were. First bit, second bit, and third bit. And the first 2 bits are generally quite good.
I agree.
The third bit is really bad. This film has some iconic moments, and I think it was kind of necessary and useful in establishing kind of like a new kind of action-packed take on the spy genre, because I guess up until this point, like, a lot of spy stuff had been sort of just sitting around on a beach drinking martinis, whereas this was like, hey, what if you were just like kind of killing people but also being betrayed all the time? All in all, though, I think the problem is that the best parts of the film really just kind of do like a good job. The best parts of the film are kind of just good, and the worst parts of the film are kind of crap. But I mean, obviously, you don't really need to watch it. So I think, given that you don't really need to watch it, I'm going to place it somewhere. I'm quite comfortable placing it here, above Ant-Man, which is an equally you don't need to watch it film. And to be honest, I could easily see myself placing this below Ant-Man, but I don't care. Either or, really. And below Ocean's 11, also below Minority Report. So I think obviously there's a certain validity to comparing this film to Ocean's 11 and Minority Report. So if you compare it to Minority Report at least had a very interesting premise. So I don't think you can disagree with that. Ocean's 11 had a very simple premise, but it was kind of like a tight story that had, characters you actually cared about. They were actually characters. A lot of people in this were characters. And it was a kind of good heist film. This film kind of felt like a conspiracy film and a heist film and an action-adventure film and a stupid film for stupid people all rolled into one. And therefore, I would give it a not bad, not good, average.
Okay, average. So, right in the middle.
You know what? I think it might almost be exactly in the middle. You ready for this? It is. I've got 17 films above it, and I have a grand total of charge 16 films below it.
Wow.
So it is near as damn it in the middle.
Yeah, fair enough. Basically, I think this review wasn't the greatest, even though we spent almost 2 hours on Skype.
We talked about so much other stuff.
Yeah, and you're going to have to cut stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for listening to our review of Mission Impossible. We shall be back next week for a better review and a more entertaining review, I hope. Certainly for us too as well. Ghostbusters is what we're going to do next.
Holy crap, I'd forgotten.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be great.
Oh,
it's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to cut them down like their butter.
Yeah. what, yeah, I know, we'll say that. Anyway, so, that's what Paul Feig said. It's, the ghosts. See, the ghosts here, they're not actually that, oh, wait, what does George Lucas say?
Oh, I can't remember, actually. It's annoying me. I do remember the classic line he says, we've got to have Leslie Jones in it, because she's a funnier character than we've had in the other films.
If we can get Leslie Jones working, that'll be the key
to
the key to all of us. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, thank you for listening, and yeah, we've been selecting and reflecting on Mission Impossible because of Mission Impossible's 6's release. This fucking franchise has been going for 22 years, Michael. 22
years.
They've
kind of released films quite irregularly until the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The first one was 96, the second one was like 2001.
No, the second one was 2000.
Okay, the third one was 2006, and the fourth one was 2011.
Yeah.
And the fifth one was like 2015.
Yes. So, yeah.
So they've increased the pace this time. This is the shortest gap they've ever had.
Because they know Tom Cruise is getting old. They don't have that much time left.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you for listening once again, and we shall see you next week on Ghostbusters. Goodbye.
Goodbye.